the core of the gang is here, so let's do the principles.
All righty.
Oh, I can do them today.
On a computer.
No, I've still got my phone because my phone's easier actually in a way.
Everyone's
But,
Okay, you want me to start?
hold on, let me get numbers. Gary, feed everyone.
I've
I'll
got
go.
to step away a second.
No worries.
Okay. Then so it'll be Gary, and I'll go second for a change. Jan. I'll put Joe on if he comes back. Julie and Stan. Is he gone still? I think he's got his little boy there. Yeah. So we'll just keep him listed when he comes back. All right.
Okay.
Gary, when you're ready.
Okay, the purpose of the mastermind is to learn leadership, build teams, and create multiple sources of income together.
We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
We are present. Oh, I'm sorry.
Julie.
Is it me? We are
you
present.
Go next.
There is
You
no
go.
we are present. There is no multitasking or distractions during meetings. Mostly.
Gary.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and to hide both forces, one mind, one soul, one love.
Noble Goldman International is a conscious, aware, and engaged global community of abundance and freedom creators.
Our mission is to create 1 million millionaires who are free from the time for money paradigm. We focus on creating multiple streams of income through masterminding, team building, and the effective utilization of the internet-based platforms.
The mastermind becomes an opportunity for self-mastery, where the self-transcendent shift from the me to the we to the us occurs. As congruence and engagement increases, the world's consciousness is then raised one meaningful and inspired relationship at a time.
Lovely. And I see Carly's here.
Yay, Callie.
Carly's just listening as she's on her phone. She's probably got school drop-off or something. So very good. Okay. Now I challenged Gary with a bit of a idea for this week, because let me get up my actual thing, what I sent, so I can be a bit clearer this time. Oh. Right. How did I give me a fear? Is it now? No, I can't find it anyway. So I've been hearing a little bit of frustration, and this is something that's affected me in the past as well, and a little bit now, but it feels sometimes when you've got your own business and you're putting yourself out there and you're asking people to come on board, then you spend a lot of time asking them to come on, building up a relationship and eventually asking them to find that they've actually joined with someone else.
Ooh.
And just to feel like you're putting in a lot of time and effort, and why, what can we do? What is it with maybe our energy that, like, there might be someone in your group who is just really charismatic, and so people just gravitate to them even though you introduce them. So what can we do within ourselves? What can we kind of address and maybe work on that to become more charismatic ourselves and build better relationships with people so they want to say yes to us?
And you want me to speak to this, correct? Well, when V first approached the subject, are we recording, V? We are.
Yes.
Okay. When V first approached the subject, I thought it's a really multi-layered subject with lots and lots and lots of tributaries to it. And the first thing that came into my mind as I thought about it last night was I know that when I first began my coaching practice, and I had rent due and mortgages to pay and a variety of other things that I was financially obligated to. And I'd look at my appointment book and I would have like no one on the books that week. And I'd be like, I have to make a certain amount of money every week, or else at the end of the month or the beginning of the following month, it's not going to be good for me. And if I went into fear, I was like a client repellent. No clients called, no clients showed up, no clients did nothing. And when I would go into another state, which wasn't fear, and I would go, and my whole kind of, I think, superpower is that I will go into surrender. I will literally surrender it over to a higher power and say, it is in your hands, it's out of my hands. I can't affect this, I can't change it. Just bring me the strength to face my destiny with joy, whatever that's going to be. And I'm going to tell you a story, a little embarrassing story, but it's still a story and it's the truth. About a miracle where if you go into and you really mean it and you go into surrender and you really are surrendered, miracles happen. Bona fide miracles happen. So in the United States in 2010, we had this massive economic real estate crash where houses went from $750,000 in worth or $2 million in worth, and they were cut in half in value like almost overnight. Robert and I were heavily invested in real estate. All of our real estate actually halved itself overnight. Our leasers and our rental properties all bailed on their leases. And my business, which I had at school at the time, nosedived in attendance, almost 90%. So I had no income coming in. I had lots of income going out because all my leasers bailed. And so I had about $25,000 to $30,000 worth of mortgage payments due every month. And my business had nosedived because no one was traveling, no one was spending money. Everyone's real estate had just exploded. And I sat there going, wow, this is about as bad as it can get, but it got worse. I got a letter from IRS, who are the scariest people in the world. Joe can attest to that. And they said that they're going to audit me for 2015. And they said, oh, well, you owe $80,000 and 10% interest on that $80,000 every month on the amount not paid in full. So I'm looking at it, my real estate crash, all this expenditure, and now IRS is on me. And I'm thinking, okay, like we're going to lose the house we're living in. I don't know if we can save any of the assets because the banks are the one that nosedive the economy by giving these balloon loans to people. So I thought, I'm not going to give the banks all my income. I filed bankruptcy. I saved 2 houses, and then that was the good news. What happened was, before that actually occurred, I was laying in bed, Robert's next to me, and he's weeping away because he says, we're going to lose everything. We're absolutely going to be destitute. We're going to lose everything. And I was like, okay. I'm thinking to myself, IRS is on me. I can't pay that amount of money. So I'll probably end up going to jail. I thought, I look good in orange. You know, I'll be good. And then I thought, there's some really messed up people in prison, and I can work with them in prison.
You can help.
I know I can help. And so I had this big old talk with God. And I said, look, I don't care if you take everything away from me, take my cars, take my houses, take everything I worked for the last 40 years, just have it go poof. I can ride a bicycle. We had a little bit of land. I thought, oh, maybe we can build a yurt on the land. Okay, I'm good. I'll get a portable toilet. I'll be good. I thought, but one thing you cannot take away is my ability to work with people. Like, you can't take that away. So send me to prison. I'm good with that. And I'm doing this all in my head. I'm in this prayer, and I'm just send me to prison. I'm good in orange. I'm going to be able to work with all these people that are really broken in prison. It'll be awesome. That's where I'll do like my work. And so I go to bed, and I'm like, it's in your hands, God. You just take me, put me wherever you can use me best. I'm good. I go to sleep. I wake up the next morning, and my tax guy calls me and goes, this has never happened before. In the 40 years I've been doing taxes, never happened before. But IRS just called me and said, we will drop our audit of you if you will drop your request for overpayment of taxes on us. And I was like, oh, no, drop that puppy. So then the IRS thing just disappeared. And then we get this phone call from a renter, and our 2 remaining properties said, can I buy this house from you? I really want to buy this house from you. We have cash. I'm like, oh, gee. Not one house in Santa Fe had sold in 2 months, not one. We were the only house that sold. And so we sold that house. We bought another one that was a really good value and renovated it. And we sold it for twice the amount of money, had enough money to come to Texas. But I know for a fact it was only that surrender process that I went through that made that miracle with IRS happen. For a fact, that's the only way that occurred, because IRS doesn't do that. And so what I'm saying, I guess, is that if you want it bad enough and you're in service to something higher than you, not scraping to like make a mortgage payment or scraping to do something else, but actually really surrender to be of service to others and mean it with every fiber of your being. So the scarcity disappears, the fear will disappear, and you're in surrender and service. That is the magic state where miracles happen. So that happened. And I guess the whole thought of how we actually go to this place where we manifest things that we haven't been able to manifest before has everything to do with this resonant field coming off of our bodies. And I know that and this, like, I can't do this all the time. So don't think anything other than I struggle like everybody else. But when I can get to that place to where I truly am surrendered over, then clients will show up. When I stay in a lack of fear, I'll get like referrals, like 4 or 5 new referrals will come in 1 week, and I'll have 4 or 5 new clients already stacked onto the load I have. And that, I don't advertise, I don't do anything, but I go into this state of asking that the right clients come to me, the right organizations hire me, and the right opportunities show up for me that will fulfill my spiritual and my financial destiny. Because I don't believe that poverty is a spiritual thing. I think that abundance, financial abundance, is a spiritual thing, because that's what actually can help other people. Poverty never served poverty. Wealth has been able to pull people out of poverty, but poverty has never been able to pull other people in poverty out of poverty. So I believe that abundance is a great thing. I think we all should have it. And at the same time, when that comes to you, you give some of it away. It's important to do that. Give some of it away and help other people with it. abundance comes in a number of different ways. Some people give away free sessions. I know I have. Whatever you can do to make that sense of you're moving the energy from what comes to you out of you and into the world. And when you do it with a pure heart and you do it with that abundance mindset that you can, and also the knowing that, I know this quote from the Bible, and I won't quote it exactly, but it is something to the effect of, if God feeds the birds in the field, what makes you think you're not going to be taken care of? Even when it's looked the darkest in my life, I've always had a roof over my head, plenty of food to eat, a place to live, and a car to drive. I've never not had any of that. And I just know that it is this resonant field that actually attracts or repels. Now, how do you get there? What are some of the means in which we can actually arrive at a place where we feel enough? And I have this saying I say often that you'll only receive the amount of success that you feel worthy of receiving. And so many of us walk around as what I call with imposter syndrome, thinking, oh, we don't know enough, and we can't do this, and who are we? Well, you know, I love this one saying by Marianne Williamson: who are you not to be successful? Of course you're worthy of being successful. Of course you're worthy of doing these amazing things. It is only the 6 or 7 inches between our ears with limiting beliefs that gives us the idea that we cannot. So the very first place to start, and I know I've mentioned this before, but I think it's a secret thing that people undervalue when it's really a massive, massive value to help guide your life and your energy. And that is to identify your top 5 values and align your actions, your words, your thought, and your perceptions to those top 5 values. If we just do that small piece of thinking, finding, doing some contrastive analysis, V does this, you know, just call her up and pay her to do it for you. It's a super important process to do, because our subconscious mind is a highly moral being, highly moral, more power than any computer on the planet. No one can figure out how powerful our minds is because they can't measure it. I personally think it's a reality generating machine, and whatever it believes to be true, the physical universe shows up and makes it so. So the bottom line for us is that if we're walking around and we don't understand, remember, values are deeply subconscious. And so if we don't understand what our top 5 values are through contrastive analysis, what begins to happen is we start doing actions and behaviors that betray those top 5 values, and we don't even know we're doing it. Out of a consequence of that, if we're betraying our top 5 values, our self-esteem begins to lower. I don't know about any of you, but I've been doing this work for just too long. You think I would just be so enlightened. It's like, no, there's parts of me that's still a little bit messy. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's fine, everything in due course. But I also sit back and go, how are those messy bits happening when they happen? And I know how they happen. I forget. I will go through a day where I'm just like, I'm off. I'm thinking about the glass half full. I'm not actually aligned to my higher purpose. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm super off. Luckily, I've got a partner who coaches me as I coach him. And we catch each other and we help each other like wake up to the fact that we've just gone to sleep for a period of time. We wake up pretty soon, I don't go more than a day in that kind of state. But I start to look at that and I thought, every time I allow those limiting thoughts into my mind, I start to lower my self-esteem because it's completely contrary to my highest top values. So as I go through this process of life, I begin to start understanding more and more and more that my word and my thought and my actions are all interlinked. If my thoughts are misaligned, my words will be misaligned. If my words are misaligned, my actions will be misaligned. And as a consequence of that, I will do things that would be contrary to my values. And as soon as I do it, my energy drops. I don't know if any of you have ever left a conversation before where, you know, a group of people that you were sitting with start talking ill about someone. Like, I do my very best never to participate in that. But even if you're in a circle where people are doing that, that's why the company you keep is so important. What begins to happen is your subconscious mind takes language literally and personally. If you're listening to it, then what begins to happen is you start taking that on. And as you take it on, your energy starts to drop. I don't know of anyone who has ever left a conversation where people are talking ill about another person and they leave that conversation uplifted and empowered. It doesn't happen because of the depth of the drain on what those words and what the intention behind those words actually do. And your subconscious mind is taking it and taking in as if it was about you. This is why it's a great book called The Diamond Cutter. And it was written by Michael Rishi Roche, I believe his name was, who was the highest ranking Tibetan monk who was a Westerner. And he wrote this book called The Diamond Cutter. I'm just going to tell you like just a quick brief of that book. The bottom line is that never speak ill about anyone, ever. Because what happens is that your subconscious mind takes it as if it was about you. So this is why every condemnation is a self-condemnation, because it doesn't leave you. And your subconscious mind takes that condemnation or that ill speaking of another as if you were speaking it about yourself. So this is why also in the Course in Miracles, it says you walk hand in hand into heaven with your brothers and sisters. So if I have condemnation towards another, I self-condemn. If I speak ill about another, my subconscious mind takes it as if I'm speaking ill about myself. So this is why everyone is a reflection and a mirror of yourself. And so right at the very beginning, it becomes vitally important that we manage our mind and manage our words in such a way that only has this ability to speak kindness, to be able to be of service to other people. And when we're able to do that, then our self-esteem begins to rise. There's a resonant field literally discovered and measured by the HeartMath Institute that affects other people, affects the three-dimensional world. So it isn't so much about what we have to change out here, it's about what we have to change in here and in here that starts creating that resonance. Now, that's, I guess, the first thing that I wanted to actually state. The next thing is, you did something really interesting, Veronica. You said, helping ourselves become more charismatic. And how can I say this? There are some people that are, hey, Jules, could you mute yourself, darling? Because every time you move, there's a big sound that comes through. If you could just
sorry, I'm just a guest of mine has just joined us, so I'm.
That's okay. If you could just mute it, and then when you want to speak, just unmute. But what will happen for us all is that this whole process of charisma, some of us are hardwired that way. Some of us are not. We've all come in with a certain karmic destiny, with a certain set of cards or hand of cards that we've been dealt. And it's about how we can potentialize the hand that we've been dealt. I have absolutely no capacity for mechanical anything, but I can run my mouth really well. I can talk, but that's ATM machines scare me, because I just have all these massive fundamental incompetencies, but I have this one gift. Thank God for that. And Robert always told me, he said, you know, if I die before you, I'm going to have to hang out in the in-between worlds because you're going to be like so incapable of taking care of yourself. I'm going to make sure that no one takes advantage of you. And I'm like, okay, thank you for that. But we have this hard wiring, which is fine. It's like our karmic deck that we've been dealt. It's good. Now, how do we play it to the ultimate height of how we can play it? Like V, you think that you're not charismatic. I personally think one of your superpowers is you're dependable. If you give your word to something, you are absolutely there. Like our little interludes that we've been having and doing this mastermind, I've grown in such love and affection and trust in you because I've gotten to know you better. And you're so incredibly consistent that for me, that engenders trust. Charismatic people don't always engender trust. They may attract at first, but you're like a rock. When you give your word, it's like it's a rock. And the bottom line is, how do we play that? How do we begin to start letting people know that that is our superpower? And every one of us has that. So it really is this, I think, discovery process that each one of us would require to do to find out what is our superpower? What is the thing that we stand for? And then speaking it, identifying it, letting people know that this is who you are, this is what you stand for, this is what you will do for them, and why it is important for you to be able to help them with the type of superpower you've got. Like I never joined groups, and V, it didn't take long for you to convince me that Noble Goldman was a really good thing. And when I got into the site, I found that it was really a good thing. And when I met Mark and attended some of his masterminds, I was like, this guy's just bloody congruent. He's just like, I watched everything he said, watched every nuance in his nonverbal language and his body language. I could find no incongruencies with him at all. That won my trust. So what I know is that Noble Goldman really is a community of people who are desiring to do the right thing, who are designed to create a community of conscious entrepreneurs and bring people in as a consequence of wanting to expose people to some great stuff. Now, V's been helping me. We're going to launch the Creating Incredible Relationships very soon. I'm about ready to send that off to Mark probably in the next 2 days. And I'm excited from the perspective that I want to contribute this information. I want to get the information out there as I'm supporting all of you that have an urge to actually create something to load up into the vault so people can know who you are. So you can give your legacy and you can help other people come along a journey that you've already traveled. One good thing about being older is that, there's a lot of miles on me now that I didn't have 15 years ago. And there's things that I've learned that I didn't know 15 years ago. And integration that's happened that makes my heart a little softer and my congruency a little bit more intact. All of us have the same thing. To identify what we've learned and be able to communicate that to other people in a way that is, I don't mean like tooting your own horn or questing for personal significance, but in the conversations you have with people, do you ever really say, and I'll just ask you, V, do you ever really say, if I give my word, I'm unshakable in that?
Absolutely.
But do you say that to people? Like,
no. Actually,
I know. So to tell people really what your strengths are and who you stand for and what you believe in, I think those are really, really valuable things because I think those are your superpowers. And again, I'll say I don't know everyone on the call well enough to be able to, pull someone out and say, I know these are your superpowers, but I do know V. And I think it's incredibly important that each one of us define who it is that we are and what is the gift that we give. And not to self-promote, but to make it as a statement. So whoever you desire to help come on board and enroll in Noble Goldman, you'll be able to say that this is who I am, this is why I believe the way I believe, this is the value I've gotten. And I will say, I will, hold your hand if that's part of your superpower. And I will stand by you through the entire walkthrough of how to actually get yourself started. And I'm committed to you for that. So if that is part of who you are, then that would be like the most awesome thing to begin to start communicating to people. So I wanted to open up the call, because I do my best to only talk for about a half hour and then open up the call to other people, because I want to know if you guys are willing to share, or if you've already identified what your superpower is. I would love to know and have people share what they think that is for them. Mine is running my mouth. So I would just like to know what you guys think yours are. Trevor, I feel very pulled over your way just because you have a great beard. And so I wanted to, first of all, introduce myself. I'm Gary, and nice to meet you. Does it feel comfortable to talk or share?
Yeah, no, fine. Thank you for the compliment. It's actually wasn't through design. It's more through laziness that I've got to be.
Well, it works for you.
Yeah, I'll take that compliment. Thank you.
Very good. So if you had a superpower, what do you think that would be for you?
Well, that's a difficult question, isn't it? I would say on the surface, I don't know. I think maybe intuitively I might know, but there's a lot of things that I haven't done. I've got a lot of regrets of things that I haven't done that I could have done better,
But your superpower, let's say that your intuition was to speak to you and you were going to trust your gut. If you were in trenches with someone and someone had to depend on you, what would be your superpower?
Well, I guess it would be in a situation like that. It could be I'm a good listener when I want to be. Awesome. I do tend to I don't know. I don't know how to say it without sounding like an ego trip, but I do tend to find it quite easy to put myself in other people's situations. I can quite easily slip into that, into that role.
So then you have compassion and empathy.
Yeah. Compassion and empathy, I guess, is probably a good quality. Although, having said that, life seems to take me off in different directions, and I don't often follow it. But I think in a perfect situation, I would be quite good at that, in that environment. Yeah.
Good on you.
Can I just step in a little bit here, because Trev's an old friend, and he used to be my right hand when I was a potter in New Zealand. So I've known him for years, and he's he's very talented musically, and he's a composer and taught himself to play the guitar and things. Anyway, he's very humble, and he's got a great sense of humor.
Great. Trevor, you want to elaborate on any of that, buddy?
Well, that's a very nice accolade.
He just needs a new pair of glasses.
Well, I do need a new pair of glasses, yeah, and I also need to kind of pin down what I want to do. I'll be 60 this year, and I'm still wondering what I'm going to do when I grow up. It's so I don't know. It's kind of a hard one for me to know what I actually want to do exactly. I know it's people related, and I know I want to. I mean, I don't have to tell you, but we all know there's a huge, disconnect in the world today, isn't there? Really, and it's only getting worse. And I kind of want to I want to have a prominent place in that somehow, but I don't know how. So I don't know.
Well, Trevor, can I share with you something, buddy? The 50s are the best years of your life, to tell you the truth. I'll be 70 in August, which is like totally freaky to me. But you will undoubtedly, that's where the 50s is where you really start to find your groove and
60s
get into the place where you can where you start to know who you are and start to find out what it is that you're here to do. 50s are really a magical 10 years. So you're at the beginning of something really awesome. The bottom line is seek and keep experimenting. I think that one of the aspects of the 50s is that we know the clock's ticking, right? And we feel very compelled to finally step into what we feel like we came here to do. You said something very interesting. You said that you know that it's people related, that it is somehow to assist others. Start seeking in that arena and just don't give up. Seek until you find. I mean, there's a lot of resources on this call from people who have gone into the people helping professions. It's a road to toe for sure, but at the same time, if you have that desire to actually lend a hand and help pull people up, then the right information is going to come to you in a way that is going to help you be more successful. And there's a lot of resources on this call that can assist you. And I think it's really important to follow that initial pull. That's the first thing I heard you say around what it was you felt like you wanted to land on when you grew up, is to actually fully go into a people helping mode and help people evolve. If you choose to do that, I'm always happy to help. Other people on the call are happy to help. The bottom line is that the world needs more people that are awake with a strong sense of empathy and care, and to help, because it's going to get a little darker before it gets lighter, I'm afraid. And more light needs to be on the planet, not less.
Absolutely, I totally agree. It's hard not to get drawn down into that negativity. I find that a constant struggle.
Yeah, it is.
When I referred to like the people, I like to be involved with the people, with people and helping people in some way. It's not even directly. I mean, I've worked in services where I've looked after people directly. It's not so much that, but it's what I do, whatever that is. I want it to affect people. I want it to affect change, and I want it to affect people's outlook more. Like, for example, like Julie said, I used to write songs years ago, and it affected people in a positive way. So that's kind of what I mean by that,
Well, that would be awesome. Music is a big healer.
Sorry? Music
is a big healer.
Yeah, although I've kind of reached a bit of a writer's block for many years. I've kind of, it's one of those things I can't find the inspiration for anymore. But you know what I mean? Like, not directly with people necessarily, but I like to affect change.
Awesome.
So that what I do or say may affect people's lives. That's what I really like.
Well, we all support you in that, and I'm rooting in your corner for you. So thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Did you want to say something else?
Well, just very, very briefly before you go over to the next person, I just heard you mention heart math before.
Yeah.
I've been interested in heart math for quite a while too. It pricked my ear when you said it. So I thought, a fellow heart math man.
Yeah, it's a great organization for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Hey, Jan, what's your superpower, darling?
I'm probably a good listener. I seem to have people come and tell me things that are a bit challenging for them. I have a lot of empathy. I can feel what people are talking about. And I'm usually there to help. But
Jan's another Miss Dependable. You can always depend on Jan to help out.
Awesome. Don't underplay dependability and reliability and integrity, because that's what it fundamentally boils down to, Jan. So when you're either enrolling people in Noble Goldman or you are enrolling people in Young Living, that gets to be, like that is what your contribution and your guarantee is to the people that work with you is that you'll do always your best to keep your word and to be as reliable and succinct as you possibly can be. And that's oftentimes worth its weight in gold.
I try to be very truthful as well. Like
but let them know so they don't discover it all on their own, but you just like, look, this is who I am, this is who you're working with, and this is how safe you're going to be.
Yeah. Don't like to beat about the bush.
Yeah, be direct. Thanks, Jan. Stanley, unmute thyself, young man. So,
G'day,
Stan,
Gary.
what's your superpower, buddy?
I think my superpower is reading. I'm not quite sure how that helps anybody. I think it's my sense of humor more than anything else.
You got that.
Is that a superpower?
Can be. Absolutely can be. So how would you capitalize on that? Because that would mean if you were reading constantly, it means that you would be incredibly studious in doing research. True or false?
Yes, I'm just a curious person. That's one of my kind of highest values, is being curious. So I get curious on things and figure out how to make it work and do stuff. So
So you're a bit of a mechanic then in your head, like you're putting things together, right? And you're figuring out things and how things work?
Yeah.
Well, then that's a superpower, because I hate that stuff. I need someone around that's a mechanic that can figure stuff out. So
Well, not necessarily that way. I kind of like to figure out, I suppose, I'm a human engineer.
Yeah. How people are working between the 6 or 7 inches between their ears. So I think that from that perspective, when people are asking you questions about, what makes you different, you get to say, I'm a bit of a human engineer. I'm constantly curious about how a person has gotten themselves to one point and how they can get to the next point. And I do my very best to find the fastest track to that other success point. So when you would explain it like that, it'd be very simple, but very much in alignment with what your superpower is, which is researching and being really interested and curious about what makes people tick. I don't know if you've ever explained what you do like that, but I think it would be awesome.
No, but sounds good.
Stan's running programs for his coaching as well, and I think they're going to be awesome, considering, as
Great.
Human engineer, yeah.
Great, Stan. That's awesome, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your superpower. We've identified. Jules, what is your superpower, darling?
You're on mute, honey. On the rare occasion, you're on mute.
Probably just as well, because I was just saying, oh, I've got so many. Which one do you want?
I want your best superpower, not the minor ones, the best superpower.
Well, I think my best superpower is my sense of humor. I was just going to say that's, I really didn't even know some of them. I didn't really know, and I think other people are very good at pointing them out to you, And in my case, it was my students, actually, when I was teaching, because we were doing this as an exercise for them. And then we would say, well, if you don't know, ask your friends and ask those that love you to see what your superpowers are. So I've got just so many, no. But I do love to have fun and have a laugh. And I think humor is just such a wonderful thing to have. And, Trev that's just come on, he and I used to work together, and I don't think we've ever laughed so much as we did during that time. So, that I think it's and it was a tough time. It was a really tough time for both of us in many areas. I'm also very intuitive, and I often just see behind, especially with anybody, I always look much deeper than anybody else seems to, or most people do. And I often see the underlying vulnerability of people, and so therefore I can empathise well, I think, and empathise lightly. so that you can not get too heavy, not get into the heavy stuff, and we can sort of transform it. I'm also tenacious. I just don't give up, and really curious like Stan. I have to know everything, and I drive people nuts with questions.
So it's humor and it's curiosity, right?
Yeah, and I think creativity very much. And somebody
Awesome.
came up the other day and said I was absolutely creative in every single thing I did, and she's someone that knows me very well too.
Awesome.
Cooking, art, pottery, everything.
Well, thanks for that, Jules.
I better take these on.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Joe, what's your superpower, buddy?
I share a lot of the same ones as many in this room, but for what I am best at, I don't think I've actually learned that yet. I'm still in the stages of discovering a lot of things I did not know I could do. So I might have to get back to you on what the actual best superpower I can present is.
Well, Stan just said it's your hair, buddy. It's your hair that's your superpower.
Well, you got to neglect it for it to look this good.
So,
baseball cap on and go.
The thing that I'd like to share with you from just observation, Joe, is that you're humble, your heart's been wounded, and you've recovered. That makes you incredibly compassionate and kind. And I've never gotten a sense that you ever attempted to puff yourself or be personally significant, that you really do your very best to come to the party with a servant's heart. And all of which I think is a massive direction towards your superpower, because I think you're really a kind guy.
Thank you, Gary. I definitely am a listener, empath, observer. I don't like standing out in the crowd, even though I've got this stature that I've got. I stand above the crowd basically. So, yeah, it's difficult to be in my position sometimes. But
I bet. How tall are you?
6'4".
Yeah, you're a big boy.
Yeah, a lot of people look up to me without wanting to. They just have to.
Awesome. But I just threw out a few things that I thought was your superpower. Veronica, do you have anything you want to add to Joe's search for a superpower?
Oh, gosh, I think he's going to be an incredible healer once he comes out of his shell a little bit. Yeah, definitely.
I totally agree. Because you got the heart for it, brother.
Yeah.
You definitely have the heart for it.
The whole forgiveness thing keeps popping out at me.
Yeah.
Forgiving, very forgiving person. I take more than I should sometimes, but I still forgive to move forward.
It's awesome. I think the ultimate goal for all of us is that for each one of us to be so congruent and our vibrations so high as far as the love that we see in another. And Course in Miracles, it says, you look through the eyes of the Holy Spirit, meaning when you look at someone, you are looking at God in them as the true essence of who they are. And when we can do that, people can heal in your presence just by the vibratory resonance in which you're holding. That's a goal that I have. I'm very far away from that, but that's a goal that I have when I'm this old, wizzled up old man living somewhere on the planet. I would love to be able to be that clear in how I walk the world. So I hold that for you, Joe.
Beautiful. I often think about that. I don't know if I heard that from you before, but someone was telling me something along the same lines where there was someone who could heal just by looking at the person. And I was like, damn, I wonder if I've got that skill tucked in my bag of goodies that I haven't found yet.
I'll talk to you someday about that because I've got some stories about that. Okay, Callie, darling, I probably know your superpower, but it's probably way more complex than my little mind can figure out. So what is your superpower?
I don't know. What's mine? If you know mine, I'm curious. But I do have to say, Joe's very, very, can I just share, Joe, because I want to appreciate you. And I guess that's one of my superpowers. I love appreciating people for who I feel they are and see, because I don't just feel it, I see it.
Yeah.
And I know it. And then if they're not sure about it themselves, when they sit with me, I hold this huge loving space that allows them to see themselves, and I don't even have to tell them. That just awakens in them. And then they know who they are.
Well, that is definitely a superpower.
Yeah, so that's my superpower. But Joe has this nature that is so warming that makes anyone, I'm assuming, because it makes me want to know you, Joe. Like, you're so generous and your heart's so full. And even though you've been through all that devastation of your life choices, you're still here, and there's a reason, because you're so big and so generous, and you're meant to be here. And I can't do what I'm doing on the earth, walking as God, without you here as well. I can't do it without you. That's basically it.
Awesome. You know, I think that the hearts that have been broken are the hearts that grow bigger and grow stronger. And so whenever there's severs in our hearts and they mend, they grow stronger and they grow bigger. And so for those of us who have had those kind of experiences, it really needs to be, instead of a narrative about what happened to us, it needs to be a celebration that it did happen to us, and that our hearts has a capacity now to expand to a bigger degree than what it once was. And everyone has experienced that sort of brokenheartedness. And once we have that, it becomes really, really a very, very powerful thing. So thanks for that, Callie. That was awesomely said. And we have someone on the call named Quantum Vision. Who is that?
So that's Cassia. She's been she's part of the Quantum Elite team, and I've seen her on some of Mark's calls.
Awesome.
But she says she's in the post office, so she can't talk at the moment.
Okay, no worries. Welcome. Really happy you joined us.
I'll keep an eye out for her if she unmutes and she can chat.
Okay, great. Is there, well, what we should do, we have a little bit of time left. I wanted to just go through the room and just say that, you know, the more we step into our superpowers, I think the more those identified qualities inside of us, the more we're able to create and affect those and create changes in the world outside of us. So depending on what that outcome is for you, whether it's having people come to Noble Goldman or not, I know for me, when I speak to people about it, and I haven't really even approached my database yet because I want to get all my stuff up on the vault, and I wanted then to be able to promote that, which would make people come to Noble Goldman more, is that it becomes this really important place where when we're coming from a purity of heart and we're promoting Noble Goldman, I feel like honestly I can promote it authentically, because I really do believe that it's being run for the purposes in which we read every mastermind. All of those principles is what I believe we're all standing for. And that inspires me, because there's very few groups or platforms where I feel like there is an absolute congruency. And in Noble Goldman, I feel like there's a congruency. And I am very particular about who I associate with, because I've been disappointed more times than I've been pleased. And this is a time that I've been really pleased with the congruency of the people that I've met, with the integrity and the heart of what Mark demonstrates consistently. I'm really happy to be part and parcel of this, this process. And where else can you go and meet people from all over the world and us share like what we've shared in this mastermind, which I think we've shared some really awesome stuff in this mastermind. And I look forward to it every Tuesday. And I really do. So, V, I have to thank you because you're the one that talked me into it. So I kind of wanted to go through the room, and if everyone could leave a word that they would like to leave with the group for the rest of this week till next Tuesday, that would be really awesome, because let's leave a part of ourselves that would be a part of our superpower. So Veronica, I've got you big on my screen. So would you mind starting?
I can't say it in a word, but I feel like my task is now to communicate to others what their superpowers are. Because how hard was it for us to actually find our own?
I know.
Mm.
Absolutely. Jules, do you have a word that you would like to leave with the group for this week?
Unity with joy.
Nice. Thank you for that. Callie?
Believe.
Awesome. Jan?
Laughter. Laugh more.
Thank you. Stan the man?
The first one that popped into my mind was page 27. Just to be funny, so everyone can just read every book at page 27. You don't need the whole book, just page 27.
I was like, what is he talking about? But now I get it.
So my word is
That's
fun.
holding up a book. Well, thanks for that, Stan. I'll have to open up a book and read page 27 and see what's there for me.
So my word will be fun for the week.
Good for you, buddy. Thank you for that. Joe?
I'm still scanning page 27 for my word. It's not popping out at me. Before Stan did that to me, I think I had like community or unity in my mind.
Those words are great. Both are great. Thank you for that. And Trevor, is there a word that you'd like to share with the group, to leave with the group for the next week?
I guess the word integrity popped into my mind. Someone mentioned it earlier on. I always think that's crucial, really, to everything, isn't it?
It is.
So whether we do something correct or incorrect, if it's done with integrity, well, then in a way it's kind of correct.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, sir. That was awesome. And who else? I think we got everyone.
Carly?
But Callie, yeah, she shared. No, maybe she didn't. Callie, what's yours?
I shared believe, but I just want to thank you, Gary, for giving us this gift of you and Veronica running these classes, because I don't know much about you, but I know you've got a lot of wisdom and experience, and because you're viscerally embodied in it, we all get to receive it with ease and grace. So thank you.
Oh, darling, you're more than welcome, but all accolades need to go to V. She's the goddess of the group, in my opinion.
She is.
She is.
Absolutely.
And I think I got everyone except for me. My word is surrender. Is surrender over to that higher power and ask for your body and your mind and your words to be utilized for the greater good. And be led.
And listen.
So gang, I'm going to close up the meeting. I want to thank each and every one of you. And Trevor, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome, Cassia. Even though you can't talk to us, we
say again?
Yeah, Cassia, I'm glad you could make it even though you can't talk at the moment.
Oh yes, Cassia, thank you so much, darling, for coming. And we will see you all next week. And we will rock and roll into another topic that V will miraculously come up with. and we'll go from there. Okay, God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
God
you.
bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.